Howdy YouTube fam, we are out here with another video today. I've got my brother, the Jacob Kelly, in the background, and so we are out at the Suwanee Disc Golf Course in Suwanee, Georgia, cleverly named. But we are out here at this course. Now, Jake and I have never played this course before. Jake is a certified master. Watch out, Paul Macbeth. Jake's coming for you.
Oh, kill him. Oh!
And so we're gonna approach this course, and I know that some of you, when you go out and play a new course, you're thinking, what am I supposed to expect? How am I supposed to play this thing? And so we wanna put our thoughts together as we tackle this course to show you kind of what we're doing as we play this round. So, you ready?
So ready.
Let's jump in! So hole one's gonna be pretty straightforward. We're just jumping out there. The basket is tucked away back there into those little nest of trees, and so we're just going to try to go nice and easy. Something you're going to notice that we do throughout really the whole round, and something to really take notice of, is that we aren't necessarily trying to hit the basket at the beginning of every shot. We aren't walking into our tee shot thinking this has to land next to the basket. Jake threw his Paul Macbeth Tour Series Luna off the tee, and I decided to follow suit here with my Tour Series Paul Macbeth Luna. And as you can see, the shot didn't necessarily go as planned, and so because it's first tee of the day, we decided to throw two. Jake's going to throw a rubber blend Luna off the tee on this one, and I'll tell you, he absolutely smoked that one. It actually ended about 100 feet past the basket, so completely downhill. I'm taking a Mako 3 here and just trying to lay it up and go high rather than put everything behind a putter. I'd rather have a little more control and hit it with the mid-range, and it worked out pretty well. Like I said, Jake's other Luna landed about 100 feet past the basket, and so this shot is about 70 feet out, and Jake couldn't see the basket, and he's going to not embrace the way of the playa, and he's going to try to just park it right next to the basket and get aggressive here. And little did we know, because we couldn't see the green, it was actually pretty sloping off the backside, which put him in a bit of trouble. So having seen that, I'm going into this putt thinking, okay, I want to make sure I get this, give it a chance, but don't go too aggressive. And tweet, tweet, bird alert! That sloping green put him about 30 feet away downhill, and that's a super tough putt to hit, no matter who you are. All right, so coming out of hole one, we're looking at a bird and a bog. You know, key is want to be looking for some par golf. So really, we've both missed the target here. Yeah, I would say that so far, would you say the biggest thing it seems like that's going to play into it is hills?
Yeah, elevation and just knowing or not knowing the greens. So not knowing the huge drop off behind the basket or what exactly is behind. So that way when you're throwing into it, knowing that on hole one the miss is short.
Which you would know that if you play here before.
Yeah.
But
so going long on the first two is not good. So.
Yeah. So we're gonna see hole two. Interesting. Won't be able to give a great hole preview here, but it's called Bye Bye Birdie, and that feels accurate.
250 foot.
250 foot dog leg left uphill. Let's do this. Here we go. 250 feet, super tight gaps off the tee box, and if you weren't approaching this for the first time, you might think to just go for it all the way, but because we're new to the course, we're just shooting for par, trying to land in the middle of the fairway. That's all we're going for here. I'm bagging the AVR X3, throwing it around that gap, and if we're being honest, it wasn't the gap I wanted to hit, but it worked out, got lucky, and super thankful to be out there. So what can you do? First time. Jake is going to be bagging this zone from Discraft, and Jake actually got this disc before we started the round, so this is his first throw with it, and he's starting to realize, hot diggity dog, that thing is pretty overstable. Jake's liking his look. He's got a pretty open gap there right in front of him, and so he's going to reach out. He's going to pick up that zone one more time and just give it a nice forehand right towards the basket. He learned his lesson on the last one, and so he's going to lay up where he can see rather than trying to zoom past the basket. Because remember, a par is a win when you're playing the course for the first time. So I got a little too aggressive off the tee, and I'm actually pinched off on the right side, so I'm going for a really tricky forehand here, and I was not tricky enough to get the line that I wanted. So I'm going to have a bit of a tester putt to go ahead and get started on this second hole of the course. So I'm leaning out, we're taking the straddle, and it was not good. So we're going to tap those in. I'm going to take my bogey, and Jake will take his par. 219 feet uphill, so it plays a lot more like 250. Got a pretty obvious gap that you've got to hit. The line is very clear there. Jake going with the end of a star lion right at it, taking that hyzer approach to it, and Teresa's is going to help him out a little bit and slap it down, still keeping him in the fairway. I was a little nervous seeing Jake's hit there, but I'm going with my Lucid EMAC Truth from Dynamic Discs, and we're about to let it rip.
I believe I can.
Gaps versus Robbie on the day. Well, score's not looking pretty good for Robbie in terms of winning versus those gaps, but it was a pretty clear open line on the left side of the fairway that actually let me put my AVRX3 on a forehand line back up there to the basket. Jake's got a pretty tricky step out putt, and he's going to go for it. Oh, and well, didn't get the kick he was looking for towards the basket. Got a pretty tough uphill putt from down there. Just taking it nice and easy, trying to grab this par save. All right, coming up on a hole 4, and I would say that this course so far hasn't been crazy difficult. It's just a world of, especially on a wooded course, playing it multiple times. If you have the opportunity, you learn the lines a lot easier. And there's a degree of you should be able to get out here and hit a line, right? Like I should be able to throw a straight shot with a little bit of hyzer, and that's what that last one was. I hit a tree early, but for me, the baskets being, we haven't had a straight look at a basket yet. I think Jake, when he parked hole 2, was probably the closest we've been to a basket in terms of just a drop-in putt, and I think that's why we're just missing them. But so looks like we need to elevate our practice baskets.
Yeah, just practice elevation changes in general, up or down.
Yeah, and it'd be a lot easier when you show up here. So hole 4, here we go. Hole 4 is one of those fun shots where it's pretty much a blind hyzer tunnel. If you have the anhyzer backhand, you can throw that, or you can go with the forehand that Jake and I are going to choose to use. I'm pulling that AVRX3 out one more time. The scary part about doing this when you're approaching a course for the first time is, unless you walk down there and take a look, you kind of have no idea what you're doing or what you're shooting at. So Jake's going to pull that zone out one more time, and once again, he's still getting used to this disc, so it's going to turn a little quick on him. But this is the beauty of what Jake's trying to do, is Jake's playing a new disc on a new course, and he's still shooting pretty well because he's embracing the way of the player. He's just out here trying to play for par, trying to keep a good score. And like we said on those blind tee shots, it's really tough to know how far to go. So I landed a little too far past the basket, but we're just going to tap those 2 putts in. Take our pars, walk away, because once again, guys, if you've heard it once, you've heard it a million times. A par is a win. Hole 5 is pretty open once you hit the initial gap. It's going to be a hyzer line moving to the left. But I'd like to point out here something that we're doing. When you're approaching a new course and you're not too familiar, you want to go ahead and visualize your line. You can see Jake and I are talking through it. I'm going to go with this high hyzer on my AVRX3 once again. Just putting it out there. It was a little too high, not exactly where I wanted it to be, but I'm landing in the fairway, y'all. That's all we're looking for, land in the fairway. Because from the fairway, the odds of you getting a par are pretty high. Jake, guess what he's pulling out? That zone. Nice and low, great shot, playing the skip, and he's in the fairway. Looks like we got some pars on our hands. So Jake and I are going to walk up, we're going to assess the situation, and because we chose to land in the fairway rather than just trying to shoot all the way to the basket, we do actually get to have a run at these. Now we're probably about 60 feet out from the basket, so it's not necessarily a gimme putt by any means, but we can have a nice safe approach to it, and Jake is So close with that putt. So we take our pars, we walk away because what's a win, y'all?
We did it. We put 2 holes together in a row with no bogues and no birds, but par golf, guys. Par golf. That's all we're out here to do. Yeah, you can't. If you're walking into a new course and you're telling yourself I'm about to shoot 18 under, I think you're about to be disappointed. I don't know any time that I ever walk into a round and I go, you know what I'm gonna shoot today? 18 under. So that may be a problem with me. But yeah, so we're halfway through for this video. I think we're only gonna do 9 for this video. And yeah, halfway through. Feeling good? How you feeling?
Yeah, feeling good. It's interesting just not knowing kind of when you can attack and when you can't. So just making sure that you're putting it in the fairway is what's important, and then if you do get a shot for a birdie, then that's great, but you'll make sure that you're not going to be shooting 4 or 5 over on a hole. So
yeah, the fact that we've only had 3 bogeys on the whole card, and we're 5 holes in, I'm feeling good. So
and these fairways are so narrow.
Like, that's been multiple points we've looked at and been like, can't do that. So
it doesn't feel too bad.
But with that in mind, let's jump to hole 6.
Hole 6 is going to play 216 feet. Basket's going to be down to your left, and there's really 2 lines you can go for. You can play it safe and go straight down the fairway.
It's me, Mario!
Or you can think you're really good and try to go for the pure hyzer at it and see how that works out for you, like I did. I know, disappointed in myself. Jake is going to see my utter failure trying to go at that mid-range, and he's going to pull out his Paul Macbeth Tour Series Luna, and he's going to throw it, trying to go straight at the fairway, and it misses the line, but what we want to really focus on here is to pick your miss. My miss, because I tried to go for the big line, ended up in the middle of the trees. Jake's miss, left or right, because he decided to take the safe approach, puts him still in the middle of the fairway for a nice, easy shot up there for par. Meanwhile, I'm out here trying to give my best Lorax impression. I speak for the trees. Trying to go with a shot up to the basket, but it's a very low ceiling shot. Not an easy par to try and get. Could have been much easier if I would have taken the safe route. Now, hole 7, 300 feet, longest hole I believe on the course so far. Basket's off to the right, and you've got 2 lines there. You can either go with the left line, which is a big hyzer route with the forehand, or you can kind of go straight at it on the right side. I was debating back and forth on which line I wanted to hit, and ended up going with the end of a Firebird actually on a skip, and that was not my first option. So a little bit of story time.
Yeah, like,
You're 2 feet away from the basket.
Like, wow. That is just what I approached with as I about walked up to the tee box before that shot with my AVR X3 in hand, and my wonderful wise caddy was like, really? You're about to do that? And Jake does this thing where he says interesting, which means that you're wrong. And I was like, well, okay, I'll try. What would you throw if you're going this forehand line? He's like, I would throw a Firebird. And I said, interesting. But see, it doesn't work when I do it. So I threw the Firebird. And from what we could see, I literally am 2 feet away from the basket.
Yeah.
Get you a Jake.
So Jake's going to take the right side route, going with his Discraft Zone. And like we said, he's still trying to learn the disc, but mad props to him being brave enough to bring a new disc on a new course. And he's really fallen in love with it, but hyzered out a little too early for him. So he's just going to take his Luna, lay it up there, and take his par. Because, y'all, we love pars. Pars are great.
This birdie brought to you by Airwolf Athletics.
hole 8, nice and controlled shot. It's just a soft fade to the right. And so nothing really standing in your way, pretty wide open fairway. I'm pulling out, surprise, surprise, my AVR X3 on the forehand line. And if you can guess what Jake's going to throw, I bet you it starts with a Z and rhymes with, well, it's a zone. Jake's got a pretty wide open look, a little Anheuser action heading towards the basket. It goes a little bit past, but still got a pretty good approach there. I'm out here looking for a bird, trying to get another bird on the card, trying to head further under. So, psyching myself up. Let's go, let's go, let's go! I was pretty hyped to grab that bird. Jake's going to come out here, going to crush his comeback putt for a par. And, guys, we're almost done. Heading to hole 9. Hole 9 was a tricky one, pretty narrow gap off the tee box, and there's a little bumper ball guardian tree action going on down there by the basket. So I decided I'm actually going to try to hit the left side and see how it works out. When you don't know the routes, it's kind of hard to guess where you want to land. And so I told Jake where I was trying to land, and he decides to take a different route. And we're both throwing our Paul Macbeth Tour Series Lunas one more time off the tee box to wrap up this video. Trezos was not kind and left him about a 25-footer trying to go for a birdie to close out the front 9.
How you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never.
All right, y'all, that is 9 holes wrapped up. And Jake, what's the takeaway? What are we teaching? What's like one point if you're approaching a new course? What should you keep in mind?
I guess if you can't see the green, then just assume that you want to land where you can see. Don't throw somewhere you can't see just because the whole sign says that the thing curves to the left. Don't assume that it's a nice open meadow that you're throwing to. So
there are not sunshines, lollipops, and rainbows waiting for you around every sharp bend.
Yeah.
No, that's a good word.
Other than that, just have fun.
Yeah, if you're having fun, which is the key, right? Like, why are we playing this if we're not having fun? You just throw better. Like, It's a reality. And when you hit a tree, if you let that ruin your round, I mean, Nate Sexton asked it best. Why are trees? I don't know. Why are trees? Trees are out there to ruin your round. Don't let it ruin your round. Get out there, play some new courses, have some fun. If you don't know where new courses are in your area, we're going to plug a little thing right here. It's going to go right between us. It's called UDisc. Yeah, that's our app. No, I'm just kidding. We didn't make that app at all. But we do support it, and UDisc, you can look up new courses in your area, go check them out. And so it's really fun. This is a beautiful course. If you're in the Georgia area, the Suwanee area, come check it out. It's super fun and apparently like very historic course. And crazy well marked. Like there has been no point where we've been, wait a minute, where do we go next? It's just all here, clear tee pads, brooms on every tee pad. So yeah, check it out, Suwanee Disc Golf Course. Yay, enjoy. Smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, and check out more videos. Our star Jake is going to keep rolling with us today. So here we go.